What percentage of our audience do you think we lose when we say you need to mind the little ears in your car? Okay, tell us. And I'd say, well...
What percentage do we gain is what I want to know.
Because you turn it off, right, if your kid's in the car, because you literally can't turn around and put your fingers in their ears.
That's true, yeah. So that's probably not a great business move when you're telling people to just turn off. I'd say just curse and scar those kids.
Will we do F, Pritz, or will we do the full? I mean, I don't feel like it's safe to drop a C-bomb even on the internet.
It's never safe to drop a C-bomb, is it?
Tommy the dad outside was like, don't say that. Right, okay, so there'll be no or C-bombs dropped on the show this morning. So it's safe for your children to listen. There's a great picture on the front of the Irish Independent. So that's the back. Let's take the back up back there, and I'll do the back first then. You're a effing you're you don't even care. You don't want to train. Leaked ward message reveals Ireland's assistants fury at Arthur and Walters, but O'Neill hopes for reconciliation. Is there a way back for Keane? Not for Harry Arthur. Is there a way back for Roy Keane? Is the question on the back of the Irish Independent this morning. The picture on the front has Roy Keane, like full King Lear on the Heath, mad beard, not shaved in 4 days, not trimmed. No.
The beard was more outrageous a couple of years ago, no?
It was, yeah. It was like when the book was coming out, when he was doing that interview with Kev.
Yeah. Things were pretty rosy in his life at that point.
But the eyes are clear eyes, full heart.
Can't lose. It turns out they can lose, and quite heavily.
Yeah, he can't lose though. He's grand. He's gone all right.
Well, we were just making this point. Do you really think he's grand? Like, do you actually think he's going to come out of this fine?
Like, I think that Roy Keane's future is as a football pundit on telly, being Roy Keane.
Okay.
And I think that BT will pay him a lot of money. Eventually, when they get around to it, they will pay him a lot of money to do that. And he will be a very different type of pundit to anything that English football has ever had, but kind of fairly similar to the type of football pundits that we've had here.
Yeah.
And he'll be astoundingly good at it, and it'll be...
But more informed.
It'll be the type of box office... Well, not more informed than John Giles, like, really. Not really that much more informed than Dunphy, really. Like, just updated information, but not more informed, I don't think.
I would say Roy Keane's very, very well informed. I'm not saying he's more or less informed than Giles or anything, but...
I would say...
Other pundits.
I'd say that, like, in how relevant is this information about the Manchester United dressing room now, Like, and after that, it's style of play and pattern of play and how, tactical nuance, I'd say fairly similar.
Okay, but Roy Keane doesn't want a future in punditry and punditry.
No, but you don't get what you want in this life.
So you think his footballing career in football, in a club or at an international level is over?
I thought that he was going to get the Ireland job after O'Neill went. If O'Neill had gone in the summer, is it possible that Roy Keane would be the current Republic of Ireland manager? What's more likely, Roy Keane or somebody else?
Yeah, true. If he had taken that Stoke job, Martin O'Neill,
yeah,
chances are Roy Keane would have stood up, taken that job, and it would have been for a stopgap period of time. But
it would have been for the 2 years, right?
Maybe we'll never know. But he was going to get trusted with the reins for the Nations League if Martin O'Neill had stepped into the Stoke job. And who knows what sort of different character we would have seen at that point. We never would have perhaps had that bust up before the USA game. He would have been the manager. He wouldn't have, as I said earlier on, he wouldn't have had idle time. And like, maybe he doesn't have idle time. Maybe this isn't due to boredom. Maybe I'm being too kind to him on that. But it does seem that he's kind of taken it upon himself to be the guy that gets inside the minds of players, that is going to motivate them, that is going to make them fight for the green jersey. And he's overstepped that line, it seems, in the view of Harry Arthur and perhaps Declan Rice. We don't know the exact situation with Declan Rice, but in the view of Harry Arthur, it seems, he has overstepped that line. Now, the thing is, that is the view of one person. That is the only confirmed view. Like, but Stephen Ward yesterday, it's kind of like, haha, Roy being Roy. So there is kind of a 3D element to the whole thing.
I mean, it's amazing. It's so.
It's more than 3D. It's probably about 10-dimensional, to be honest.
Yeah. So one of the other things that happened, so the press conference yesterday was David Meyler and Martin O'Neill, and O'Neill at the very first minute of it starts talking about how there's confrontations all the time. I had a confrontation with this man, was it 2 days ago? And Meyler pipes up on us Friday. And so then obviously that was the broadcast part. We'll bring you that a little bit later on, but it's just the written part of it is Meyler and O'Neill open up on their training ground row in the aftermath of the Cardiff loss. Naturally enough, David Meyler's going, why the hell was I not playing? Look at the team you have out there. I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but like, I can name about 6 names that David Meyler would be fairly confident he's better than that started that game. Meyler admitted his disappointment that his omission from the Ireland side led to a training ground row with Martin O'Neill in Cardiff on Friday. The source of this story coming into the public domain was O'Neill, who chose to make it public as he dealt with the continuing fallout. This is like genius media management from Martin O'Neill. Like, again, when you hear it, he filibusters, refers to Brian Clough. You can play bingo with the press conferences now where it's like, talk. I'm glad you asked me that. It's very important that I say this. This thing happened, but then in my youth, this thing, other thing, just completely unconnected happened. Clough anecdotes, back to modern day footballer. Talk about the record in the Euros. We qualified for the Euros, but the World Cup was the last tournament, Martin. The World Cup was the last tournament, and it just this kind of like 8-9 minutes have gone, and suddenly, okay, lads, time for the written press. And the written press, get him where. I was frustrated I hadn't played. The manager's correct in what he said. I hadn't trained brilliantly, said Meyler, whose new club Reading are bottom of the championship. My emotions were sky high. The manner in which the game went, you're not playing. First and foremost, you're a fan of your country's team, and they're all my friends playing. The manager said some things to me, yeah, but first and foremost, you'd have to look at yourself in the mirror. Is my club form good enough? No. Are Reading in a bad situation? Yes. I mean, come on. How are all the other teams that we're playing players from actually doing? First and foremost, I need to address myself, which I respect. He was right at the time. I was upset and annoyed. You do seem to see that he was correct. So it seems like Meyler had a conversation with O'Neill, they had a fight, and at the end of it...
It seems a mature resolution has been found.
You hope so, yeah.
But is that due to David Meyler's maturity, or is it due to Martin O'Neill's maturity? If David Meyler had that same confrontation with Roy Keane, would Roy Keane have effed him out of it? Who knows? We don't know. Are we blaming the players here, or are we blaming Roy Keane? Who's too sensitive in this? Who's too aggressive in this? Seems to be the kind of conundrum we're dealt with, because you've got David Meyler there, who I think that's an endorsement for man management, no?
Yeah. This bit does slip out in the middle of the press conference, and we'll play the audio of this again a little bit later, as I said. I have the utmost regard for him as a person. I might have a difference of opinion on his ability. That's not the point. For him to take the criticism I gave him in front of the rest of the team was extremely strong. He's a really strong person. Just going to repeat that. I have the utmost regard for him as a person. I might have a difference of opinion on his ability.
He's joking.
He's not.
No?
He's not.
Why would you say that? Out loud in a press conference?
Because it's true. It's true. It's true. That's what he thinks.
But you're not supposed to tell the truth all the time at a press conference. That's not how press conferences work.
I know. Will it affect Ward's Irish future? Absolutely not. The only implication it has for Stephen is if he's fit to play and come with us, and he'll be there. I assume he's apologised for himself, and I think he's spoken to Roy as well. I have no problem with that. It'll only be age and ability which prevents him coming to the next squads.
David Meyler's getting roasted, sitting right beside Martin O'Neill. Maybe Martin O'Neill is like to Stephen Ward implicitly, this is how you do it, Stephen. This is how you give somebody a piece of their mind. Do it while you're sitting beside them. Don't go and send a voice message to your WhatsApp group. This is how you do it. And Martin O'Neill is maybe leading the way in telling it as it is.
Yeah, this is madness.
Like, the thing is, it's all quite humorous, evidently, and it's very, very entertaining. And then you're kind of laughing for a while, and then you're like, oh God, no, this is actually terrible. This is terrible for the future of Irish football. This is going to have a legacy where we become the laughingstock of Europe.
I mean, we're pretty much the laughingstock right now. 5-1, 4-1 in competitive games. So tonight's match doesn't really matter in any practical terms beyond a bunch of new players will get caps. Seamus Coleman's out as well, which, you know, it's like, ooh, this could be a paddling.
Yeah. I wonder, does anybody, like the commentary team who are doing the game tonight, I wonder, are they even going to just talk about the game, or are they just going to give their takes on Martin?
You're an effing P, you're a C, you don't even care, you don't want to train. That's how I'd open my... welcome to Poland.
So it's a corner for...
say. You're on pay.
It's a corner for Poland, but let us just remind you of the quotes that were brought up in the papers today.
That's Roy Keane. I wonder, does he think, well, P's, I'll says. O'Neill expects Keane and Arthur to resolve their differences after a row is the hopeful headline on the top of the Irish Times piece. I mean, he says he hopes there'll be a reconciliation, that it's possible. And then Poland both striking options O'Neill can only envy. On a scale of Keane bust-ups, it's a long way from Saipan. It's true, it is true. It's far more fun than Saipan because there's like an audio reportage. It's definitely more fun than Saipan.
And also, we're going to play Poland in a friendly we're not about to limber up for a World Cup. That also makes it fun. There's less stakes. It's much lower stakes here. Maybe Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane are like, actually, I enjoy this media circus. Let's keep this going. But then for the next international break, it'll be serious.
Yeah, because we're like, well...
So it's home games, you know.
The GA says that whereas it is open to any proposal for assisting counties with their financial burdens, the payment across the board of travel and catering costs for all counties mightn't be the ideal vehicle for doing so. So the GA accepts escalating travel costs are an issue. This is the start of the GA stories where we you see balloons floated, kites floated that might end up as pieces at Congress. And then Stuart Lancaster was doing press yesterday. I go hard on them because I think it's about winning, Lancaster. And McIlroy's putter fails him again as Keegan Bradley has won again. Keegan Bradley is good at the old golf. Managed to beat Justin Rose, who did end up, I think, doing just enough to become world number one yesterday.
Yes, but didn't actually win.
Poles apart is the headline. Keane ready to reconcile with Arthur, says O'Neill. That'll be an interesting conversation, wouldn't it? Roy Keane rocking up at Harry Arter's. Who was the crappy ex-Man United Aston Villa midfielder that he rocked up to his door when he was working under Paul Lambert? The Man United ex-Man United. No, it's not Warnock. He played for Man United. He scored an amazing goal for United. It was like, it's the latest in the production line of young talent coming through at Old Trafford and then never made it. Not Kieran Richardson either. Come on, Tommy. Tommy's a Man United fan. Anyway, he rocked up to his door and...
This is like a really tricky quiz question.
Would you let Roy Keane in? Would you let him into your house?
Yes.
Tom Cleverley.
Oh my God. That was...
He called around to your house after a row.
Yeah.
You letting him in?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
You got to play hardball at Roy. He'll respect you letting him into the house. That's what it is. It's all a game of who respects each other the most. It's like he would respect Harry Arter so much more if he just played through that horrific injury.
Most footballers, I think, are talking to the letterbox. Yeah. What do you want? Yeah. I'm just out of the shower. I see you in the changing room every day. Yeah, I know, but
Like, you must understand that I am speaking from a vantage point where Roy Keane will never, ever, ever have reason to call to my house.
Roy Keane storms to Tom Cleverley's house to confront him over alleged bust-up, reports. Irishman not happy over rumours of training ground altercations. I mean, is that like... There was a rumour of the fight, and then, so just to make sure that the rumours were true, he went to... I think that looked like it was from the Telegraph. So the tape won't affect Ward's future Ireland international career. I mean, come on. It just the killer lines. Just the killer lines about age and form. It's like... Well, we're getting our excuses in here.
Well, I love the way...
That first one was the Indo.
Martin O'Neill is like, he's 33 years old, he should know how WhatsApp works.
Yeah, well, I that's exactly it. How can I trust you to defend a corner when you don't know how WhatsApp works? Here it is. Roy Keane did turn up at Tom Cleverley's house, but he did not want to row, says Paul Lambert, so Lambert confirms that it happened. It's always the manager confirming this stuff is, yeah, that's Ward. Yeah, he did show up at Cleverley's. Aston Villa manager Paul Lambert insists the incident has been blown out of proportion after reports that his former assistant stood ringing the player's doorbell for 15 minutes, seeking an argument.
Classic. Would you, like, at what points in that 15 minutes do you say, right, enough is enough? I've got enough courage to open the door?
Well, clearly...
Are you opening the door, actually?
Clearly somebody was in the house.
Yeah, clearly. Are you opening the door?
I mean, you probably do, don't you? You want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course you do. He's a reasonable man. And then there's like, there's all the lists of people that Roy Keane has fought with. I forgot about Anthony Stokes in 07, like, he signs for Sunderland and then is late for the bus and is like, nah, you can't get on. There's Alan Shearer, there's John Delaney, there's his Man United teammates, there's Alex Ferguson, and then obviously there's the Mick McCarthy one. Do we have those tweets ready to go, actually, about this?
Well, it's ironic that John Delaney's the only relationship you mentioned there that has actually been resurrected. As in, like, you list off all the people there and it's like, well, they're never going to talk to each other again. And you might have thought the same if you list off John Delaney there, but they've got clearly a working relationship. They work under the same umbrella, so...
So one of the things that this has allowed everybody to do is to relitigate Saipan. So here we go. We put this up yesterday. Are you getting tired of the Roy Keane circus? And then it's eyes and circus emoji. Hashtag OTBAM. Hashtag Koi Big. Report Keane called Arthur a prick and a wanker. Then the very first tweet we had underneath it was, he never added anything to the setup. Should never have been in with O'Neill. And Delaney hadn't the courage to tell O'Neill that. He not much better either. O'Neill, time for both to shag off. Hashtag OTBAM, says Noel. Why did Conor Hourihane say last week the Keane is fantastic, says Argal, who's clearly a Keane fan. Hashtag OTBAM. Keane let down his country once and now he's offering nothing on own controversy, to a team up to O'Neill to sack him. It was he who brought him in, and if he doesn't, then FAI should get rid of them both, which is better option for Ireland. Hashtag OTBM, says Noel. Straight back at you. Argal, not taking that line down, says Keane never left his country down. Left. Where is he from? He's clearly from Cork. Keane never left his country down. That manager sent him home. He was then vindicated by the Genesis report. We haven't heard the Genesis report. We haven't mentioned once. Good man, Argal. Check what Conor Hourihane said about Keane a few days ago. Back to the Conor Hourihane point. You know, you need to change it up a bit there. Hashtag OTBM. Roy Keane, the man, the myth, the legend, says somebody who says they are Roy themselves. Wasn't the original Keane/McCarthy spat due to Keane not playing in an Iran game due to an injury? Maybe Arthur should have screamed, a positive result, a positive result. This is such a joke. Too much going on behind the scenes. Things much change, says Noel.
No, never change.
That's it. I do love the Genesis report. Yeah. QED, Genesis report, been getting them.
I can send you the PDF if you'd like.
We'll come back and do some of the non-Keane stuff later on, because this is just too much fun. Polls apart. Beleaguered Ireland could be set for another long night. It could be 4-0, 3-0. A friendly if you're Poland. You want to duff us?
They couldn't be bothered, though, really, could they?
Oh, yeah. I think, like, the Ireland team looks not great.
But let's show you the probable 11 via the Irish Daily Star this morning. We'll get to the Irish Daily Star back page and front page in a moment, but let's show you the probable 11. So, Randolph in goals, Shane Duffy and Kieran Clark at centre half. Then you got Cyrus Christie on the right of a back four, Enda Stevens on the left. Then in midfield, you've got David Meyler and Sean Williams holding, Jeff Hendrick in front of them. On the left of a three, up front, you got Darrell Horgan. Up front on his own is Callum Robinson. And on the right of that three, Matt Doherty.
That's exactly. He's known as a tricky winger, isn't he?
That would be the biggest positive of this whole international break, to see Matt Doherty stationed on the right of a front three. Like, that is the moment when we're finally thinking forward. We're looking ahead to the future.
Matt Doherty could well retire from international football if they pick him on the right of a front three tonight.
Why? Do you not love that?
He's a defender.
Does every defender not just love to play up front?
But give him an opportunity to stake a claim.
But he plays on the right anyway.
But he's clearly seventh choice at the moment. It's ridiculous. Even the other night we needed somebody to come on who was going to be replacing a fullback. Give him a chance out there to see what he can do. He's playing in the Premier League. He's beating out competition where the club have invested massively in the position. He's no, I can do this. I'm better than this.
Well, the thing is, they could easily just flip Cyrus Christie and Matt Doherty there in those two positions, considering Christie played on the right of a midfield four. And
that was a big success. But I think that having Meyler back in the team will actually help. That will help with some defensive solidity. He might really pull the centre halves together a bit more and actually have someone to boss them around. The front page of the Times Ireland edition, Roy Keane on the front of that as well. Keane facing calls for sack over player route. I haven't heard too many people call for him to be sacked. Oh, Giles and Brady have done it, have they?
Yeah, they did it on the Emma Dunphy podcast.
All right.
So the Brains Trust have voiced their opinion that it's time to get rid of Roy Keane. They may have a point. It's an awkward one though, isn't it? You kind of just parachute the assistant manager out of there.
Yeah, you can't be doing
that's
that.
A very unusual.
You can't be sacking assistant managers. It's O'Neill's fault and responsibility. You're either sacking O'Neill or you're not. You can't be saying, oh, we're going to take this little piece out and therefore everything's grand, the whole situation is gone. If Keane wants to resign, fair enough, but you can't sack somebody's staff member for having a row with people. It's just a row. It's just a row.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. You would think that until the point where players are actually leaving the squad. Have you got all the details of what happened is the question.
Tommy says it's not just a row, we've lost 3 or 4 players. There's literally no evidence at this point in time linking the Rice situation with what happened with Keane. There is just hearsay. There is no evidence from anybody who has come out and said it, and O'Neill has denied it not once but twice. He denied it again yesterday in the press conference. Ward is injured at the moment. We clearly saw him pull up with an injury in the middle of that game. He is Is he our first choice left back anymore if Robbie Brady comes back, or is Robbie Brady in midfield and he's our first choice left back? Maybe he is, but he's not gone from the squad. They're saying that it has no impact on his future. Walters went back because he's injured and because this is only a crappy friendly and we really don't need to see what Johnny Walters can do for us at this point. Go off and get game time at Ipswich. He will show up, I think, until he can no longer run and will still be part of the squad. And so at that point, there's a row with Harry Arter. O'Neill says there's something else going on with Harry Arter. Harry needs to come out and clarify that, and if there is, fair enough, and if there isn't, then clearly it's down to a row with Roy Keane. And at that point, that's a bit ridiculous. The managerial team's job is to get the best players on the field. Harry Arter clearly deserves a place on the bench, if not in the first team, and probably in the first team at the moment. And so at that point, Roy has to eat humble pie and go, yeah, okay, look, that was bad, I shouldn't have done it. You need to come back and play football. But that's it. You're sacking him over a row with Harry Arter.
Yeah, it's like, that's actually it's so true. Like, what else is there? But unless there is more there, unless this is tip of the iceberg stuff, but that's all hearsay, as you say. Like, is Harry Arter representing the feelings of the squad, or is Stephen Ward's tone representing the feelings of the squad, where everybody's kind of bemused but not actually overly taken aback by it or overly offended by it? It does seem that there is an argument to be made, as you said there, that Harry Arter is almost the outlier here, but like, we've got to wait to hear what Harry Arter's got to say first before we give our final judgment on all of this. Surely, like, there could be more to it.
Yeah, there could be.
Or else there could equally be no more to it.
This might just be one of the best storms in a teacup ever. A row between a footballer and an assistant manager and a WhatsApp message detailing the row, and that's it. But it's good crack. I think this is definitely on the good crack side of things as opposed to the absolutely rotten state of football in Ireland. Because, I mean, obviously it takes the focus away from the FAI, but they've got a lot of work to do. It's
all good crack until it goes south. Like, and it could turn south quite quickly. And as I said, we're all laughing now until those Mercs are wiped off our face, and we're sitting in Pool D fighting for survival against Gibraltar. Although you can't get relegated from Group D, so there will be no survival at stake.
No Tigers role for Lancaster. Stuart Lancaster has ruled himself out of the running for the role at Leicester. I mean, I don't know. Jordan Murphy is going to be the coach for the season, is what Lancaster said. You really hope that, like, Irish rugby are locking Stuart Lancaster down in whatever format he needs to be locked down in.
Yeah, that is the second Stuart Lancaster story over the last couple of weeks.
What was the other one?
What was the other one again? It was the England post, wasn't it? Or going back into the England role, or some sort of...
Pretty sure that that's not going to happen, but Andy Farrell was linked with the defensive coach role in England, which, you know, I don't know. Would anybody be volunteering to work with Eddie Jones at the moment?
Well, that's the thing. It always gets you a little bit nervous when they have to come out and deny that sort of stuff, because you're like, are we doing everything to keep them locked down? But thankfully, you'd like to think that nobody wants to work with Eddie Jones, and in Lancaster and Farrell's position, they don't want to work with the RFU. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that they don't want to work with the RFU, and that probably gives us a bit more of a bartering chip.
Yeah, and you would suggest that they're the prime candidates to be the Ireland post next time around.
Yeah, true. So there's a career progression here for them. It is Roy Keane, Martin O'Neill, Harry Arter everywhere in the tabloids and in the other papers. Let's just go to the Irish Daily Mail first. I'll say sorry, Keane finally ready for Arter reconciliation. And the other story on the back page here is Mayo move to speed up selection of new boss. They've set a deadline of September 19th for clubs to submit nominations for a successor to Stephen Rochford. The Herald's back page is O'Neill 100% behind Keane. Irish boss predicts Arter reconciliation with number 2. Now, the Irish Daily Star, and it's tab of the morning to you. The front of the Irish Daily Star is this morning's winner. Watergate reads the headline. Shock bust-up claims and leaked WhatsApp tape of Ireland fullback. O'Neill says new account of sweary rant, I love that term, sweary rant, doesn't tally with what I heard, and assistant Keane in bid to clear air with absent Arter. The back page of the Irish Daily Star then is Keane will say sorry, Roy in attempts to clear the air with Arter. And you've got that Giles and Brady. So they're actually telling Martin to axe Roy, so it wouldn't be an FAI directive, it would be Martin O'Neill saying, I've had enough of you, Roy Keane. Leave my side now, I'm getting a new assistant manager.
Would Trapattoni have Sackley and Brady? Under no circumstances, at any point, would Trapattoni have Sackley and Brady. Especially not because he's being told to do so.
Well, that story is actually leading the front page of the Irish Daily Mirror. Boot him out. WhatsApp sensation. Soccer legends demand FAI sacks Keno after shock tape claiming foul-mouthed abuse of Irish players. The back page of the Mirror is sorry will not be the hardest word. O'Neill says Keane will offer apology to Arthur over a row. It is quite amusing that Martin O'Neill is telling the world on behalf of Roy Keane that he will apologise to Harry Arthur. And, you know, maybe if Martin O'Neill is saying there's reason to apologise to Harry Arthur does have serious reason to be aggrieved. Like, we've just spoken about this, we've yet to hear from him. But if like Martin O'Neill is, you could never level Martin O'Neill with the accusation that he is a snowflake. If anything, he's got a thicker skin than most other people involved in Irish football. So whatever has been said, Martin O'Neill is reasoning it deserves an apology.
Yeah.
So
that's fair enough, though.
Reason suggests that Harry Arthur was right to make his decision.
To walk away.
He's owed an apology.
I mean, maybe he was accused of faking injury.
He's owed an apology, according to Martin O'Neill.
Maybe he was accused of faking injury.
If Tommy outside said something to me and I left, and Tommy said to you, yeah, I should apologise to him, who's in the right and the wrong there? You know, it's the person who says, yeah, we should probably apologise for that, is probably in the wrong.
Yeah, but how wrong?
Okay, now we're getting into complete levels. Here's something we don't know, and how big or small is the thing we don't know?
Well, yeah, it's funny. There's a difference in accounts from what Roy has told Martin and what Stephen Ward has told his mates / the world.
Yeah, that is true.
That divergence of accounts is interesting.
Yeah, no, it
and
is.
He was like, no, that's not what I heard. That's not what I heard. Like, well, okay, so it's definitely what we had all heard before the WhatsApp. Like, this stuff was in the domain, not quite the public domain, not quite as public as recording a voice message and sending it to your mates.
No, that's private. That's literally a private group.
Yeah.
It's your mates who sent it
But
on.
You know that your mates are... I mean...
You don't know.
There was just exactly the same thing happening with the voice messages from the NAC, like, just about 3 weeks ago, right?
No, it was about 3 months ago.
Exactly, but it feels like...
quite slowly.
You feel like, you know, in the public consciousness right now, the NAC is right there. Everybody heard the messages.
Yeah.
I'm just going to record the most explosive thing that's happened in Irish football since iPad and send it to my buddies. I'm going to do that. Hit send. Oh, what have I done? What did I do?
Stop victim blaming, is all I can say.
I'm not victim blaming. There's no victim here. We're all the benefits of this.
Well, we certainly know that is very true.
We're all the beneficiaries of this. So there's no victims. There's literally no victims in any of this.
Well, if you could pick one, it would be Stephen Ward. And, you know, it's his friend's fault. It's... You know, there should be no apology.
Oh, I mean, however Stephen Ward is feeling, I hope his buddy is feeling far worse. Yes, you did end my international career. I trusted you, and then you ended my international career. I mean, you didn't officially end it, but I got like 8 minutes at the end of a 4-0 drubbing in our last Nations Cup game. And, oh, you know the way John O'Shea got to go back and like captain the team for... I didn't get that. And there's no mention of that from me.
I think us as anybody who's proud of being Irish this morning, their ego will have taken a hit when I looked at the Guardian and Telegraph this morning. Neither of them are leading with
It's ridiculous. What's wrong with them?
My ego has been
punctured. It's almost as if the greatest cricket player of the generation scored a walk-off century in his last test.
Like, how dare they lead with Alistair Cook? Back page of the Guardian is dreams can come true. Centurion Cook provides fairy tale ending to glorious test career, and that is the same story on the front page of the Daily Telegraph sports section. A fitting farewell. It's goodbye and thanks for the memories as Cook bows out with a century. And that is the back pages for this morning.